I was watching this talk by Francis Collins last night on YouTube. I don't know why I do this to myself. I've watched it a couple of times. It's painful. It's part of the Veritas Forum, and it's basically a piece around his book, Language of God. And it's irritating on so many levels. But one of the things I'm finding quite interestingly irritating right now is that he produces these. It's not exactly evidence, and he said it's not evidence, but he produces a series of ideas which he says were pointers that led him to God. We're not supposed to treat these things as evidence for the existence of God. He makes that very clear. We're supposed to see these, as he says, as pointers. He also goes on to say that even if those pointers were completely dismissed or disproved or made irrelevant, his faith wouldn't be shaken, which is a stupid thing for a scientist to say. But either way, he says these things are pointers, and they're all spurious. They're all the stuff that comes out of C.S. Lewis, and they're all things like the moral law, which he completely misunderstands. But I do think this idea of pointers is quite interesting, and how a pointer, a conceptual pointer, can lead you to accept the existence of something. That's quite nice. And the kind of embodied experience that I've had, which I'm using as a tool to understand that idea, comes out of a holiday I had in Spain with my family about 2 years ago. We went to southern Spain near Murcia, which was really nice actually. It's great. But and we hired mountain bikes as part of the holiday. And I was in the mountain bike shop hiring these bikes, and I asked about trails, and he pointed to this bunch of outcrop of rocks, a small mountain, and he said, "Oh, there's some great trails around there," and he gave me a leaflet, and he said it's called Lion Mountain. And I said, "Why is it called Lion Mountain?" Because it didn't look anything like a lion, and clearly there were no lions in southern Spain. And he said, "Oh, well, if you point up down this road, he said, if you go down that road about 4 miles, there's a promontory out into the bay, and if you stand on that promontory and look back at Lion Mountain, you'll see that the outline, the profile of it, looks like a lion's head." And I did actually do this, and sure enough it does look very much like a lion's head. But from any other angle you can see it's a whole scattering of different mountains and different rock formations. It's only from that particular point does this illusory lion appear. So I guess in the same way that Francis Collins' crappy proofs or crappy statements come out of C.S. Lewis act as pointers, this gentleman in the mountain bike hire shop was pointing towards the place I can stand on the earth where this strange mirage appears, this strange outline, this strange structure appears that looks coherent and familiar. So I suppose if you were to follow the finger of Francis Collins pointing to where he's pointing, and stand in the same place and refuse to walk around, for example. One of the things I like about, well, it doesn't matter, anything to do with thinking and walking really, but if you refuse to move around and absolutely stand where someone puts you and look in the direction that someone's pointing, and I'm sure you can convince yourself of the existence of lions and the existence of a particular sort of God, really. Doesn't sound like very satisfying to me, though.